What is going on, ACC fans? Welcome to another edition of ACC Radio. I'm really excited to be here today. Had a busy slate. I've wanted to do more for you. But today, it all changes. Everything we said we were going to cover in our original, in my original post, we're finally going to do today. So, which is cover college football. And I know everybody out here has been looking forward to the season to start. Maybe me a little bit more than most of you, but man, I'm pumped. I am ready for this sucker to go. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. Do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button. If you want me to cover your team and they're not an ACC team, that's fine. Let me know. Hit me up in the comment box and we'll go from there. But today, let's do this. Let's start off with the Louisville Cardinals. The 2-10, the 0-8 Louisville Cardinals. They were absolutely terrible last year. Awful. Awful. But the more I read on this team, the more I liked what I saw. But they were so bad. Good grief. Anyway, so Scott Stattersfield is their new head coach. He comes from Appalachian State. He is going to turn this ship the right direction. So Louisville fans, get excited. You got the right man for the job. He brings in two big-time assistants. Both of them are up-and-coming stars, if you ask me. Brian Brown, the defensive coordinator for Louisville, is going to be a tremendous part of this team. Probably the most important part of Louisville. Now, if you're asking me why that's a thing, Louisville was terrible defensively. I mean, they weren't just bad, they were historically bad. Probably the worst defensive team I have ever seen. And I'm not making that up. But you Louisville fans are there being like, man, this guy's a jerk. Good grief. Are we really that bad? Yeah, you were. You really were. So you gave up 529 points. Compared to the rest of the ACC, the next team gave up over 100 less than that. That is remarkably bad. Other than that, you didn't do too bad. I'm just kidding. You were awful. You lost on average 44-19, all while giving up 483 yards per game. It was a bad year. It was a really bad year. Also, let me beat you up a little bit more. You gave up 71 touchdowns. Clemson hasn't given up 71 touchdowns in 3 years. Just kidding. 4 years. Anyway, that's not the point. So Brian Brown comes in to a complete disaster defensively. So what's the first thing this guy goes out and does? All he does is bring in Jadarian Boykin, a 4-star defensive tackle from Georgia. He's number 33 in the state, according to 24/7 Sports. I'll throw them out there. That way I don't get sued. He is going to be a stud on the defensive. You got to play him right away. I mean, if you're Louisville, you can't be one of these teams that's like, hey, we're going to go and redshirt this guy. We want to see what he does in the future. You have a now. You have a need now. So that is a big sign for them. Still staying on the defensive side of the ball, Yazir Abdullah, another great player. He is a linebacker. He redshirted last year. He will come in this year and make an immediate impact at that linebacker position. And the main reason is Louisville is going from the 4-3 to the 3-4, which means they're going to line up these linebackers out wide, bring a lot of confusing blitz coverages, a lot of zone reads on the offense. It's going to be interesting to watch. A lot of these guys, they're not used to this, but if there's a coach that can do it, it's Brian Brown. Now, let's go to the offensive side of the ball for Louisville. This is Scott's specialty. I mean, Scott went 51-24 at Appalachian State, finished tied for first in the conference 3 years in a row. Those 3 years, he went 3-0 in bowl games. He knows how to coach a football team. Like I said at the beginning of this, man, if you're a Louisville fan, guys, be excited. You got the right guy in here for the job. He brings in Dwayne Ledford from NC State. He was the offensive line coach and the assistant offensive coordinator. He takes over the reins. He will have those same roles here, but instead of the assistant offensive coordinator, he is the offensive coordinator, still the offensive line coach. Scott Stattersfield, compared him as a up-and-coming star, so we'll see how it goes. I have a feeling they're going to be great. They have a three-way quarterback battle. I watched a little bit of their spring game. It was bad. It was atrociously bad. And one of the main reasons is one of the guys I'm going to talk about here in a minute, he wasn't on campus yet. But right now, the quarterback battle is between Jawan Pass, Malik Cunningham, and a rising freshman in Evan Cooley. Jawan Pass is going to be a redshirt junior this year, and he's never really put the pieces together to be a successful quarterback in the ACC. He ended up getting hurt last year. He only played 9 games. He had 8 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. Would prefer to run than pass. And then you have Malik Cunningham, a guy who came in for him, who would absolutely prefer to run than pass. The guy had 497 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns in like 4 games. You might as well make this kid a running back. He didn't do anything in the passing game. I think he threw the ball maybe like 8 times. I couldn't find anything on it. Maybe y'all can help me. Maybe you Louisville fans out there can give me a little something, but Malik Cunningham wasn't getting it done. Which leaves me with Evan Cooley. 41 touchdowns and 19 interceptions this year as a senior. Like I told you earlier, I don't know if I did. He originally committed to Appalachian State. Once Scott Stattersfield left Appalachian State to come to Louisville, he followed him there. So I have a feeling this kid is going to get thrown in the fire really early. Super early. The good news for him is another one of those guys who had the red shirt last year or ended up getting hurt, Javon Hawkins, is a running back who is coming off a red shirt year. I'm not sure if he ended up getting hurt or if they just decided to red shirt him. But from everything I read, this kid is going to be a stud. He's really going to take a lot of pressure off whoever the quarterback is. Personally, I think you got to go with Cooley. Let's talk about the big ugly that redshirted last year, Caleb Chandler. I love to talk about those offensive linemen, man. This guy's an offensive guard, and he's got the right stuff. In a couple years, 3 years maybe, you're going to see his name called on that draft board. Keep an eye on him. I know a lot of people don't pay attention to offensive linemen, but he's going to make an immediate impact on that offensive line. 3-star kid out of South Carolina. Big time get for them last year. So let's jump right into the games. Why don't we? Let's not hold anything back. How are they going to do? What's my prediction? What does Brent got to say? So let's start right here. Notre Dame. How is the Louisville Cardinals going to do against the University of Notre Dame? Well, that's a loss right there. So Notre Dame will be previewing them later. I kind of don't want to do it, but, they're in the conference for every other sport. We'll go ahead and preview them as we go on. I don't know when I'm going to do it. It might be the last one I do. I don't know. I can't stand Notre Dame. Nobody else should like them either because of that. Let's go down to their next game. It's against Eastern Kentucky. That's a win. Eastern Kentucky is not a great team, Division II school. Kind of struggled last year even in Division II. Louisville gets the ball rolling early into that, and then they go into their next week against another rival, Western Kentucky. I went back and forth on this, guys. I'm not going to lie. Western Kentucky almost beat them last year. So this wasn't an easy decision. I went ahead and I gave them the win here. But I'm not going to be surprised if Western Kentucky does beat them. Next on the list, we got the Seminoles from FSU. I'm going to put an L beside that one. Florida State brings in the second best recruiting class in the ACC this year. It's going to be Taggart's second year in the league. I have a feeling he gets this ball rolling pretty well for the Seminoles. Next on the list is Boston College. Boston College lost a lot defensively. They bring back a young quarterback and they bring back a really good running back. If you saw him play last season, you know he's the real deal. But with that being said, Louisville with the W, baby. We're going to give them another one. Off to Wake Forest, to the Demon Deacons. How will they fare against the Demon Deacons this year? We're going to give them an L. Why are we giving them an L? I just don't think they can string together 2 wins in a row. I'm going to be honest with you. That's the only reason. Next on the agenda, they got Clemson, the national champions. That's a loss, guys. That's a loss. And I'm not telling you why it's a loss. It's a loss. So the University of Miami will come next. It's an interesting game, man. I'm telling y'all. I don't know. I looked at this at the I'm going to be honest with you Louisville fans out there. I went through this schedule before I started writing down my notes, what I was going to do, what I was going to say, how they were going to do. I went through it, and I only had you guys winning against Eastern Kentucky. That's it. But I've changed my mind. I've got excited about you. I'm actually going to be rooting for you. Not really, but, I hope you win a couple. So we're going to skip Miami. I got to come back to that. I just don't know. Right now, I'm going to come back to that. So NC State, that's not going to be an easy win. That's a loss. Syracuse, a rising team in the ACC. I cannot wait till I get to cover them. And I hope you Syracuse fans tune in because that's going to be a shocker. That video right there, I'm going to have some crazy stuff going on with y'all. So Louisville will take a loss to Syracuse. Kentucky at the end of the year, that's going to be another loss. So that leaves us with the University of Miami. Both teams have new coaches, but at the end of the day, Florida talent, the U, kids right now want to play for Miami, and they don't want to play for Louisville. So, your year is better than last year. You have one more win in the ACC than you did the prior year. And you have 3 wins total. So, like I said, if y'all have any questions, hit me up in that comment box. Let me know and we'll go from there. Y'all have a great day. I will see you this evening when we cover UNC. Peace.